Hello, how are you? Interesting topic that I saw on YouTube, and that is the idea that God will protect the Jews through this Gog and Magog war. Now, many Jews, I think all of the Jews, all of the rabbis believe that the Gog and Magog War, of course, is going to happen soon. And we find the Gog and Magog War in Ezekiel 38. However, if you've been following my videos, you know that the Jews don't have the Holy Spirit, and they don't understand the Old Testament. And of course, since a lot of Christians think they can follow the Jewish teachers and that they know the scripture, which I have totally explained that that's not the case in my previous videos. Most dispensationalists believe, and that's probably most churches in the States, most teachers in the States, Christian teachers, pastors, believe the same thing. They believe that this Gog and Magog war will happen soon and will actually happen before Jesus returns. And again, they go to Ezekiel 38. But Ezekiel 38 does not tell us exactly when it will happen, but it will clearly describe, very clearly describe, the situation that will exist in Jerusalem, in Israel during that time. He didn't say Israel, but Jerusalem. This war is all about Jerusalem, and Jerusalem being attacked. We can go to Ezekiel 38. If you have not read it, please go there, because it's extremely important that we look at these things. And we need to look at how this Jerusalem, of course, is described, and to compare it to today's Israel. And so if we know exactly that this Israel is not today's Israel, what are the Jews believing? And are they again forcing the hand of God? Well, not necessarily forcing the hand of God, but think they can rely on God that He will protect them, because that's exactly what's going to happen during that time. So now let's look at Ezekiel 38, and we start with verse 7. Of course, you need to read everything, analyze everything. Verse 7, it says, "Get ready, be prepared, you and all the hordes gathered about you, and take command of them. After many days, you will be called to arms. In future years, you will invade a land," now here it is, "that has recovered from war." Now remember, they recovered from war. They are not warring, which today's Israel is doing. They have not been recovering from war since they started. Okay? There's no recovering since they started the state of Israel. So no, this is not what we have today. Recovered from war, whose people were gathered from many nations to the mountains of Israel, which had long been desolate. Now here you could say, okay, that could be today, but hey, that means we have to ignore everything else. We can't do that. Yes, He saw nations gathered from many nations to the mountains of Israel, which has long been desolate. They had been brought out from the nations, and now all of them live in safety. Okay. Why are people ignoring that? They're living in safety. Is Israel living in safety today? Again, not even since the creation or the foundation of the state of Israel have they ever lived in safety. You and all your troops and the many nations with you will go up, advancing like a storm. You will be like a cloud covering the land. This is what the sovereign Lord says. On that day, thoughts will come into your mind, and you will devise an evil scheme. You will say, I will, listen to this, I will invade a land of unwalled villages. What does exactly that mean? Yes, they don't have walls. Why not? Because they sit in safety. There's no walls. There's no limits. There's, everything is in safety. I will attack a peaceful and an unsuspecting people. Now, if Israel today would be unsuspecting, this is exactly what they did October 7th, right? Unsuspecting. No, they were not even unsuspecting. They were just left the door open, kind of, for Hamas to come in. No, they were not unsuspecting. That was kind of stupid. If they would be unsuspecting, that nothing would happen. But I will attack a peaceful, unsuspecting people. Not today's Israel. They're not peaceful. What they have been doing with Gaza, that's not peaceful. No, they have not been peaceful with the Palestinian people. They have not been peaceful with the surrounding nations like Syria or Iran or anything like that. No, there's no peacefulness. And unsuspecting people. No, these people in Israel are prepared for war because they're expecting it. All of them living without walls, without gates and bars. Now, if that would be the case, why do they have walls around Gaza? Okay? Why do they have walls around Jerusalem? No, that's not true. I will plunder, and this is not even including, okay, the walls and bars they have all over the place. I will plunder and loot and turn my hand against the restful ruins, or resettled ruins, and the people gathered from the nations rich in livestock and goods living at the center of the land. And then it's Sheba, Dedan, and the merchants of Tarshish, all her villages, will say to you, have you come to plunder? Have you gathered your hoards to loot, to carry off silver and gold, to take away livestock and goods and seize much plunder? And then it continues. Therefore, Son of Man, prophesy and say to Gog, this is the sovereign Lord says, in that day when my people Israel are living in safety, you will not take notice of it. You will come from your place in the far north, you and many nations with you, all of them riding on horses. And that's why many think it is Russia. But here it says, many riding on horses, a great horde, a mighty army. You will advance against my people Israel like a cloud that covers the land. My people Israel. The people right now living in Israel are not God's people. They're not following God. Okay? So we can't say that. I know you can argue with me if you want to. But God's people are people that are following God. Period. And the people in Israel are not following God. Even the Orthodox Jews are not following God. They're following their own traditions, and therefore they're still following idols. Okay? I will bring you against my land, so that the nations may know me when I am proved holy through you before their eyes. And then you can read and read and read that he will destroy them. Okay? He will destroy them. It will execute judgment on him with plagues and bloodshed. I will pour down torrents of rain, hailstones, burning of sulfur on him and on his troops and on the many nations with him. Okay? So he will destroy them utterly. This is what happens against those people that come up from the far north, not Iran, not the kings of the east, north, to go, and they will bring the whole world with them, basically. But when we look at the description of Jerusalem, Israel at that time, it does not fit today's Israel. These people are not God's people right now. If they'd be God's people, they would believe in Messiah. They would not persecute Messiah or the people that belong to Messiah. I wouldn't do that. So here, this is not a war that will happen before Jesus returns, or even during the time Jesus returns. But the Jews depend on this. See, they think they can start wars and then God is going to protect them. And that's not going to be the case. It's not going to be the case. I will read to you what Zechariah 14 was saying about the day of the Lord coming. And that battle that is being waged, called the Armageddon War, in Revelation 16 and in Revelation, where is it, 10 maybe? But 16 for sure, 12 through 16 I believe. That's the Armageddon War. It's not the Gog and Magog. It's not the same one. Well, the Jews think it is, but the Jews don't know. Why do the Jews not know? Because they don't believe in the New Testament. And those people that are following these false rabbis, they don't care also about what the New Testament is saying and what really John said in Revelation about this Gog and Magog war. Because John clearly says, and you can go there right now, to Revelation I'm trying to get it. Revelation 20 tells you specifically about Gog and Magog. And then people say, oh no, that's not the same thing. Yes, it is, people. It's the same thing. It says, and I will go, and this is Satan that's going to cause this, because he was bound for 1,000 years and then he became loose. And I will go out and deceive the nations in the four corners of the earth. Gog and Magog, and to gather them for battle in number, by they are all are like the sand on the seashore. That's all people in this world are being gathered. And they will surround the camp of God's people. True God's people. Who are God's people? Who is God's camp? God's camp is the New Jerusalem. that is down here during the 1,000-year reign. And the bride of Christ living in Jerusalem, and the people that were brought back from many nations that surround it now. Human beings that came, that the angels brought, collected all over the world, because they continued to believe in Jesus and held on to Jesus during the wrath of God. And they now are gathered around New Jerusalem. And this is exactly what happens. The city he loves. Who's the city that he loves? That's Jerusalem, New Jerusalem that he's building right now for the bride. Where he's going to live with the bride during this 1,000-year reign. But fire came down from heaven and devoured them. See, this is exactly what happens then. He doesn't describe it in great detail. This is the same Armageddon war that was described by Ezekiel in Ezekiel 38. Now, the rabbis do not accept that, right? They think they know when it is. No, they make their own things up. They make it up. They try to fit it in their traditional thinking or whatever. Their false teaching. That's why they're misled people. And those people that are following these rabbis are misled as well. And so they're screaming, oh, Gog and Magog, oh, Russia is going to come and swoop down. No, people, it's not going to happen. Matter of fact, if you have been following my videos, you should know that Russia is going to be destroyed during this Armageddon war. This last war during the Third World War, the last war during the wrath of God. That's the Armageddon war. That is what's going to happen very soon if Israel is going to continue what they're doing right now. And with the United States is continuing what they're doing right now. Because they're all going to end up at the Armageddon war. Of course, the United States as the false prophet, Europe as the beast. They're all going to gather there, and they're all going to be destroyed there. Period. They're all going to be destroyed, including Israel. And they make it sound like, oh no, God's going to protect us because we are God's people. You can't be God's people if you're not following God. You can't pretend like you're following God and still make up your own shit. I'm sorry. Ooh, that wasn't intended. Sorry. But that's true. If you think about it. If you follow your own, stuff, can you expect then to say, oh, well, God, we're God's people. We're God's people. No, we're not even following God's commandments or God's plan. I hope you watched my last video. And then, oh, he's going to protect us. They're not going to be protected. Matter of fact, they're going to end up pretty bad. And I'm going to read you right now what's going to happen to them. Let's go to Zechariah. Now, I have said that so many times too, and I really don't read it very often. Yeah, I do read it once in a while. But, hey, people, read it. Okay? So you also have an idea when this is going to happen. The next thing that's going to happen, of course, is the rapture. And you can scream all you want. It's called the rapture. It is the taking out of the bride. I had people arguing with me again, about the timeline and also, is it a secret rapture? It's like, yeah, nobody's going to see it except the bride. Everybody else will be sleeping. Now, is that secret enough if everybody is sleeping and they wake up and, oh, these people are gone and nobody knows what really happened and the government is going to say, oh, the aliens took them. Is that secret enough? I don't know. Some people ask me about this secret rapture. I can't find it in the Bible, but it is secret if you really look and read. But anyways, here it says, a day of the Lord is coming. A day of the Lord means the day of the Lord. Okay? The day of the Lord. That is when human history is over. The 6,000 years of human history is over. And the 1,000-year reign of Jesus is starting. That's the day of the Lord. The whole 1,000 years is the day of the Lord. Jerusalem, when your possessions will be plundered and divided up within your very walls. Does that sound God is helping them? No. I will gather all nations to Jerusalem to fight against it. The city will be captured, the houses ransacked, and the women raped. Half of the city will go into exile, but the rest of the people will not be taken from the city. And yes, the Lord will fight, absolutely, because there's going to be this great battle, and he will kill everybody, including the Israeli army. Because the Israeli army fights on the side of the beast and the false prophet. Come on, people, you know that, right? And so they are going to be destroyed as well. Okay? And he will stand on the Mount Olives, east of Jerusalem, and the Mount Olives will be split in two. This is how horrible it's going to look in Jerusalem. No, this is today's Jerusalem. This is not the city of God that he's going to bring with him. The new Jerusalem. It's not it. It's the today's Jerusalem will be split in half. Okay? There will be a great earthquake. Great earthquake. You will flee by the mountain valley. And he's even saying here, on that day there will be neither sunlight nor cold, frosty darkness. It will be a unique day, a day known only to the Lord, with no distinction between day and night. When evening comes, there will be light. This is, again, classical wrath of God. Catastrophic events that are going to happen. And then he jumps in verse 8 to actually after these catastrophic events. Then on that day, living water will flow out of Jerusalem, half of it east, and out of Jerusalem. That could actually mean the new Jerusalem that by that time already came down. If you read Revelation 21 and 22, and then in 12 he says, this is the plague with which the Lord will strike all the nation that fought against Jerusalem. But this is all the nation, including the Israeli army. Okay? Because they will all fight. It says Judah too will fight at Jerusalem. Judah also will fight there. And he is only mentioning Judah. And you can continue to read the rest. Because then he goes also into what will happen after this horrible battle. You can also read, of course, Revelation 16 and see a little bit what he describes there with this Armageddon battle. Because this is what the Armageddon battle is. During the day, or at the beginning of the day of the Lord. During or at the end of the wrath of God. No, Israel or Jerusalem, the Jews will not be spared. They will not be spared. Why not? Because they are not following Jesus. You know what happened just before that? They killed the two witnesses. Okay, go to Revelation 11. Go to Revelation 11. Who killed the witnesses? The witnesses were killed in where? In Jerusalem. That's where the two witnesses were. They were killed in Jerusalem, and it says the beast out of the abyss did it. But who do you think really did it? Since Jerusalem or Israel is part of the beast out of the abyss, of course, they did it. The beast out of the abyss, which is Europe, maybe supported it. They finally said, yeah, we'll give you permission. Go ahead, do it. Because you know what? It's happening in Jerusalem. And it doesn't look like, in Revelation 11, that Israel was converted or was repenting when these two witnesses preached. Doesn't look like it. They were happy when they were killed. They were laying in the streets. Doesn't say anywhere that Israel mourned. No, because they were happy that finally these people were killed. That's what happened just before. No, they did not repent at that point. They were not as a nation following Messiah. The remnant maybe. Hopefully the remnant didn't go into captivity at that time. But this is still all going to happen. It's all going to happen. And I believe it will happen after they kill the two witnesses. I think this war will start, this final war, this Armageddon war will culminate maybe after these two witnesses in Revelation 11 were killed. Check it out. Do your study. Stop listening to your false teachers. Of course, it takes time to really study these things. It really does. Instead of just listening to the blabber that these people are doing. Oh, the Gog and Magog War, the Gog and Magog War. No, the Gog and Magog War is not coming until after the 1,000-year reign. That's when Jesus really, you know what? These people are sitting in safety. If you read it exactly again, Ezekiel 38. These people are sitting in safety. They did not expect anybody to attack them. They did not have any weapons. Even the people that came only had primitive weapons. They had primitive weapons, horses. And I really believe they were horses. No tanks or airplanes or anything like that. Why? Because what happened in the beginning of the 1,000-year reign, after this Armageddon war, is when they they made all the weapons into plowshares. That's what they did with all the weapons. There was no more war for 1,000 years until Satan gets loose again and deceives everybody again. And people, make themselves weapon again from just primitive weapons and go against people that sit in safety. Well, they sat safely. They didn't expect anybody to attack them. But hey, Jesus was with them, and boy, oh boy, did he smite them. It didn't take much. These people were right there in the city. Of course, that's the bride of Christ with Jesus living there. And I think I said that in my last video, people were settling around. Those people that were brought back from all kinds of nations that continued to believe in Jesus during the wrath of God. They were brought back by the angels. And they're living there. And then they're attacked. Totally different. Totally different than what's happening today. Israel today has never had a day of safety. Never. Because they are not interested in keeping safety. When I am interested in expanding my territory, I'm always creating wars. That's not safety. I'm not giving any idea that I want to be, my neighbors to be safe. The neighbors around them, they're constantly in fear that Israel's going to attack. And they're going to attack them and take their land away. What do you think they did with Syria now for years? They just took the Golan Heights away from them. Oh yeah, we're going to start this war and then we'll just take the Golan Heights. It's like, what up? Like ridiculous. The same thing with the Palestinians. They were living there for 2,000 years. They're probably a mix of Jews anyways. Jews and whatever people lived there. Because there must have been people living there, even after after the destruction of Judah in 70 AD, there were still, Jews left there that mingled with everybody else that were living there, and they accepted, being a Muslims, the Muslim faith, but they're really biologically Jewish descendants. And they're living there. And you know what? You can't just come in and just say, okay, you know what? This land is now ours. We're going to kick everybody else out. You go there, you better make peace with the people and try to live with them. But that was not done. So how in the world do you expect this country to be safe? Has never been safe. It's built on nothing but wars and attacks on their neighbors. Look what they did with Egypt. The only one I don't remember them doing anything to Jordan. But look at everything, Lebanon and Syria, constantly in fear of being attacked. I think the only person that's now a little more kind of at ease is Egypt, because Egypt really showed them that, no, you're not going to get our land. I don't know, but anyways, just wanted to show that because I see these headlines. And those headlines come from Christians as much as, the Jews. The Christians say, oh, Gog and Magog is coming, Gog and Magog, Russia coming down, swoop, swoop, swoop. No. Yeah, it's somebody coming from the north, but it's not Russia. It's somebody else swooping down, but that person has the whole world with him. Not just, the people from the east. Anyways, I'm coming to an end. I hope that kind of helped. If you still have questions, let me know. Again, thank you so much to all my subscribers. And I'm always very thankful for the comments. I'm thankful for the thumbs up. Thank you for people that are sharing my videos. Because, there are many people out there that need to hear this message, that are exposed to these teachers in sheep's clothing, wolves in sheep's clothing. And I understand these messages that I'm giving, most people will reject it because they're stuck in deceit. And of course, there's nothing I can do. I'm getting to the point where, whatever, I'm thinking, there's nothing you can do. There's always just going to be a little remnant. And when the rapture happens, there is going to be only a few people that will go. Only a few. Many still scream, oh, the rapture, oh, the rapture, oh, the... Yeah. But are you going to be in the rapture? Are you really following Jesus? Same thing with the Christians that call themselves Christians, like the Jews. The Jews say, oh, we're following God, but they're not really. They're following their own traditions. They're following their own stuff, their own inventions, their own gods. And so do the Christians. Oh, so-called Christians, right? Most churches out there, they follow blind leaders. Anyways, I'm coming to an end. Let the Holy Spirit guide you.